Good evening and welcome to the candidate debate. We are here tonight to have a debate between the candidates for our Georgia House District 144, our Georgia Senate District 20, as well as the Bleckley County Sole Commissioner. My name is Brooke Miller and I'm going to be your moderator for tonight. Before we get started, I would like to explain the schedule of events. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to do the House race, followed by the Senate race, followed by the Commissioner's race. Each candidate will get opening remarks for roughly 2 minutes, and they also get a closing statement for 2 minutes. Whatever candidate goes first in the opening remarks will also make their closing remarks first as well for consistency purposes. For every question, candidates will get roughly 2 minutes. There will be an exception for a couple of questions with the Bleckley County Sole Commissioner's race, and they will get roughly 3 minutes to answer those questions. So we're going to go ahead and get started for the event. So we're going to start with our incumbent for the Georgia House District 144, Representative Danny Mathis. Hello, Mr. Mathis. Thank you for joining us today.
Hey, Brooke. How are you? Thank you for having this.
Doing very well. So, first of all, I would like for you to introduce yourself and tell us why you're running again.
Well, thank you, Brooke. I'm Danny Mathis. I'm running for the re-election for State Representative 144. I was born and raised here in Cochran. I'm a funeral director and mortician. Have been working there over 48 years. I have also served as coroner for 18 years in this county. I am married to Ellen Purser Mathis. We've been married over 44 years. We have 3 children. We have 5 grandchildren. I have one on the way, I'm proud to say. I'm running for re-election because the district of the people are important to me. I want to make sure that the livelihood of our great state continues. What I think is, and we believe it should matter in this district, I am asking to be the voice and the representative in the values and opinions of this district. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mathis. Now we're going to go to our challenger who is with us via telephone. This is the Democratic candidate. This is Mary Whipple-Lue. Ms. Whipple-Lue, it is your turn to answer the same question. If you want to introduce yourself by giving us some background and why you're running for this office.
Yes. Hi, I'm Mary Whipple-Lue, lifelong resident of District 144, businesswoman, former member of Wilkinson County Board of Education 2 terms, former chairwoman of the Wilkinson County Democratic Party, active member of the Democratic Party, and I'm the former mayor of Gordon, Georgia. I'm running because I am the candidate of positive and productive change. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Whipple-Lue. We appreciate that introduction. All right, Mr. Mathis, first question to you. What do you do, or what do you want to do to attract businesses and increase job creation here in Middle Georgia, and especially in this Cochran district, in District 144? What do you want to see? Who do you want to bring in?
Well, in the 2 years that I've been in the House of Representatives, I found out that drawing and attracting industry and businesses to a community starts at the local level. The local level is so important to do the groundwork as far as to set up things and ideas that we need to attract. With the work that they do through the Chamber of Commerce, through the Industrial Authority, through the local government, city, county, we have an opportunity to go out and reach out to the state representative and state senator. And when we do that and work collectively, we have ideas to get new businesses. We're going to have to be innovative. Some of the days of the old stores that we used to know are gone. But we can be innovative. There's a bright future out there. But I do believe that I would love to bring any type of industry. I believe we have the workforce, we have the location, we have major highways not far from us. The port, if you'll stay on 26, we're going to rename that the next time Larry and I are up there in Atlanta, I hope, to I-26, because that road out there is gone with the container trucks, if you've not noticed. So there's openings for us to be aggressive in drawing in the work and through industry and through businesses. But small businesses are important too. So maybe if we can just fill up the empty stores with new, attractive ways to do it, maybe not the way we used to do it, but in those types of needs. And I believe we can do that collectively.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Mathis. Ms. Whipple-Lue, Same question to you. What do you plan to do to help attract businesses and increase job creation for this district of Middle Georgia?
My plans to attract businesses and increase job creations are: one, focus on the culture of our towns, and show businesses that our community or city can do more to help than make a profit. Find ways to help startups, get access to capital, and show off our good statistics. Focus on local growth and reinvestment. Get some local businesses perhaps involved in promoting our areas. They have to see us first. Build and showcase of our small wins and invite investors down to see us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Whipple-Lue, for that response. All right, Mr. Mathis, next question is yours. This one involves rural broadband and basically access to internet and internet connectivity. If COVID showed us nothing, especially with homeschooling and with most of the community shut down, it definitely showed us the need for a widespread rollout for better connectivity across rural Georgia and within our community. So what steps do you think we should take to make broadband more affordable for this area?
Well, broadband being affordable and just being accessed is going to be a great challenge, but I know the State House and the Senate has passed laws that we've opened up the EMCs to allow us to attract broadband to be serviced through their pole distribution. I know it's a tough issue, but it's as important as lights were back in the 1930s. We have found out, as you mentioned, Brooke, in COVID, that we are essentially out of touch if we don't have the broadband and we don't have internet. Cell phone service, internet is so vital to rural Georgia. I'm pushing it, and I know our colleagues up in Atlanta are pushing it so much because the way that we do the rural broadband is going to determine the future of rural Georgia and rural America. So there is a way to do it. We can do it. I do believe that it is being worked out, but I do believe that there's technology in the line that's going to help us where we don't have to pull cable. It's going to be remote, and I hope that that's coming soon, but there's no doubt that between private business, state, federal governments, and local governments, that we can bring broadband, but it's something that needs to be done now. And I'm an impatient person, and I understand that. I know it needs to be done now because it's that essential to rural Georgia as lights were back in the 30s. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mathis. Ms. Whipple-Lue, same question to you. COVID has definitely shown us the need to have rural broadband and have connectivity across rural Georgia. What steps do you want to take or do you think we need to take so that way we can ensure that rural Georgia has access and good internet service?
Well, and that's a good question. Thank you. Further steps we can take to implement widespread rollout of better connectivity is what comes to mind is rural and remote communities like ours need to continue to identify the challenges of accessing affordable, high-speed internet, which is the number one issue that's impeding our economic growth. We need to make connectivity our first thing to do as we move further into attracting businesses. And seek out and apply for grants because they are out there available for this COVID-19 that will support the development and completion of broadband services of our area. And especially today with modern technology and in these uncertain times with the pandemic, our focus should be on advancing technology and removing communication barriers. As a matter of fact, I suggested using the widely used platform called Zoom, so that we would be able to see. Certainly everybody could be able to see me. However, I was informed that that was not available because of this. And what I plan to do, and I say that we need to use all available resources that are beneficial to us. And I plan to remove hindering barriers that so that we can move our district forward, so we can be more productive and we can get things done faster and more easily. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Whipple-Lue. All right, moving on, kind of keeping with the same thing of needs. One of the things that we need is we need to have some economic development, and we do need to attract businesses. But one of the main deterrents for businesses when they want to come into a small rural town is going to be downtown buildings. That's one of the major factors. So the question becomes, what do you want to do to try to help some of these small towns and the downtown areas that are struggling? What do you want to do to help them maybe fix up their place so that way maybe they can attract some different businesses? I know Cochran did just have a cleanup day, which is definitely helpful. But what else could we do potentially, especially at the state level, that would help us get some businesses?
Well, it's a very, very tough situation. You know, the internet shopping has taken place of a lot of folks shopping, and we found that out even in the COVID problem that we've been going through, that people have turned to that. But we got to think out of the box, and there is a solution. We got to be positive about it. It may be the businesses that we all grew up with in our towns might not be the ones that go in these stores, but there may be other ways. But it goes back to, again, it's got to come through the local governments, the chambers, the industrial authorities. Those type people have got to work with the state representatives and the senators and the folks to help get grants, to help get things and give incentives. I would like to see each city in our district give incentives to businesses that have been there for a long time. Maybe give them some kind of break to do something to try to attract another employee or do the things like that. We just got to be innovative. We've got to be diligent in what we're doing, but we've got to have unity between all the government agencies, the chambers, the IDAs. We got to do all those things collectively with the representatives and the senators and the state workers. We just got to. And we can do it. We can do it. I see positive things. There's different businesses that can be opened in all of our districts and all of our towns in our district.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Mathis. Ms. Whipple-Lue, the next question is for you. You've got 2 minutes, and this one addresses economic development. What steps do you want to take to try to attract economic development, specifically because a lot of these smaller towns have problems with infrastructure, particularly downtown, and that's one of the major deterrents for businesses and investors. So what do you want to do to address that? How do you believe we can help some of these small towns fix up and help, revitalize their downtown area to attract more business?
As I stated earlier, in order to again, highlighting the potential in rural towns can be a plus for getting business to invest. So the development of broadband and the showcasing of potentials of small towns is a needed innovation that can render much of our small towns. We need to look at the buildings. We have the blighted areas, and fix that up around the town to make the town seem more welcoming. There are many grants out there that are available to make what we have, even here in my town, we call it the Better Hometown, Gordon Better Hometown. So there are grants out there available for anything, basically, but the district needs to apply for these grants, and that will help us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Whipple-Lue. All right, Mr. Mathis. Next one, and this one again is COVID related. Basically, once COVID started and everything shut down, we saw a surge in unemployment. Unfortunately, as you well know, you had to go back to the state capitol and redo the budget negotiations as a result. I have no doubt that was very difficult. But, what steps do you think we could take at this point to kind of ensure the state's economic sustainability, but also make it one of the best states for businesses to come to and make us business friendly?
Well, we already are the #1 state to do business.
We are.
I want to commend our governor for doing what he did as far as the COVID restrictions and opened up our state. Look, if you look back right now, Georgia in August, our unemployment was 5.6 compared to 8.4 nationally. That's huge. We have good income that came into the state this month. We were able to reduce the budget by $3 billion, but we didn't lay off anybody. We were able to not furlough anybody. There was money through the school systems that had to be pulled out of their reserves, but some of the monies that we pulled out of the rainy day fund was put back. So I'm going to commend our governor for working hard and trying to keep up with a safe way to reopen. It was a little bit of a disappointment when larger businesses were able to stay up and we let the smaller businesses close. I didn't know if that was the correct way, but let me say this, I'm not criticizing to the point that that shouldn't have been done. It was a learning thing. So if we go through another crisis, we got to find ways. We can't just shut down small businesses. And I hope there's a lot of them that have reopened, that are thriving. Georgia is thriving compared to the rest of the nation. This is a terrible, terrible situation. This COVID is real. It is very real to all of our families. We've all been affected by it. But I'm proud of Georgia. I'm proud. We're number one. We just need to keep doing what we're doing, stay moral. We need to stay and have businesses come in here that are morally sound and good for our state. And if we'll do that, I believe we'll be blessed, and I believe we'll continue to be the number one nation to do business, number one state to do business.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mathis. Ms. Whipple-Lue, this question is for you. And it, again, is having to do with COVID. Unfortunately, with the COVID-19 crisis, when the pandemic started and we had to shut everything down, it wreaked havoc on unemployment as well as economic growth. And unfortunately, at the state level, we did have to do some major budget reductions. What would you do now that we've started opening back up to try to increase the state's economic sustainability and make sure that we're one of the best states in the United States to do business with?
Well, I would say to that, we need to reduce the number of COVID-19 cases and death to ensure that our state is a viable place for businesses to look at, hopefully invest. It is proven that following these recommendations of the CDC can help, and whatever they put in place, we should follow it. We can look around the state of Georgia and see the amount of deaths due to the wearing of the mask and such. That has been very, very helpful. But following the distancing policy and all of that, and take that in mind, we will be able to see the changes that are the transition that's being made. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Whipple-Lue. All right, Mr. Mathis, this one's kind of up for you. You got to pick 2 out of 4 topics that consisted of economic development, education, healthcare, and the state budget. And you got to address the needs and issues and how to improve. Why don't you choose one of those and tell us which one you chose, what you think the needs are, and how we're going to improve it?
All right, I picked education as the first one, and the second one I picked was healthcare. So education, to me, is an investment in the future. I believe we invest in a child's future now. It will pay off later. If we can educate them, it keeps them out of jail, it keeps them out of welfare lines, it puts them into a situation where they are trained and they can go out and give to the community instead of take from the community. In District 144, we have diversity. The diversity in schools, there's different needs in different counties. I would love to see more authority given to the school boards and the superintendents and the communities on some of the curriculum that they have, the way that they are going about doing school, to say that we're like the metro area to the rural area is different. I think we need more flexibility in those type things. I think folks in each community kind of know how their schools should be run, and I would push for that. And I hope that we can do that. And we just need to let teachers teach. I went to this school right here, and I can just remember how teachers taught it that day. We had tests, and we had things like that, but it was more about the teaching. They got up, they were passionate, and I just think we need to do that more. We need to go back to the things that have worked in the past on those type things and teach the kids and let the teachers teach.
All right. Thank you very much.
Let me ask you one more question. It said for pick 2 of the 4
Would
topics.
you
Do I
like to
need
do
to
the
answer
second
the
one?
second one?
Yes, you go
Okay.
right ahead.
All right, healthcare. Well, that's critical in rural areas with the healthcare. We need healthcare with the little hospitals. We deserve good health care. I don't think you need to live in metropolitan areas to be able to have good health care. We're blessed here in this county to have it. Most counties that we serve, with the exception of maybe one or two, don't have really access to a local hospital. But it's a wonderful thing to know that we got technology coming that can help us, just like what we're doing tonight is big. This is something we'd never thought of before. Telemedicine is coming. It's where hospitals can be run, and if you don't have a doctor in the house, he can get on telemedicine, and hopefully they have good folks like you running that equipment, and they can tell us what's going on. So telemedicine is something that's coming. It's something that we as communities need to be behind our local health care, and we can need to get state and federal governments to make sure that rural Georgia has adequate health care, because when we do get this broadband, when we do get the services we need, people are going to move to the country, and we want them to be here and have adequate health care. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Mathis. Ms. Whipple-Lue, the next question is kind of whatever you want to pick. You got to pick 2 out of 4 topics: economic development, education, healthcare, or the state budget. And you got to discuss the needs and issues and how to improve each one of those in the district. So please tell us which 2 you chose and what you think the needs are and how we're going to improve it.
Well, out of those 2, all of them are important, but you've asked me to only choose 2. So with that being said, my preference is first health care. With health care, and my second choice would be education. With this health care, we need to keep Georgians insured and not take away the health care coverage for those who are not able to make payments, because with this pandemic and what has been happening, there are people out here without jobs, and when you can't eat, you're more likely to become ill. And when you don't have the necessary means to make, there are many topics that can fall under this. We have the mental health issues, the abuse, people resorting to other options to try to make it in life, and there needs to be some form of health care that they will know that without a shadow of a doubt, they would be covered. And I'm a firm believer in education. I believe without education, the old saying goes, if you don't educate, you will incarcerate. As a former member of the educational stance, we know that we're in this society now with this pandemic, and we've now gone virtual. There are many in our district that are without access to computers, the internet, with broadband. There's not enough monies, and thank God for the schools that are offering the lunches and all that's necessary. And we need more. I think that this district is more deserving, better than what it has, and we can do more. With more, you can do better. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Whipple-Lue.
Education.
All right. Now, the next one is really interesting, and the reason was because a recent survey just came out, and for the first time, farmers and agriculture are actually ranked as the most trustworthy and most admired professions. So that speaks volumes here in this area because we have a very large agriculture industry. So, Mr. Mathis, what do you think the biggest issues are for the Georgia agriculture industry, and what do we want to address?
Well, not only are they the most respected, they're the number 1 industry in Georgia is
That they
agriculture.
are.
So we understand that very much. And then I think we got to promote farming for young farmers. I've been very, very pleased at the Future Farmers of America and some of the programs that we're doing. I just want to make sure that the schools are giving the opportunity for kids to learn about farming. They understand what farming is, and it's come a long way. It's not like it was years ago. It's technology like we're experiencing tonight. It's so big. So we have to have these young farmers that understand the technology to save money, fuel, seeds, fertilizer, all the different things that they're doing, and we got to entice them and show them and offer them ways to be farming in today's world, because it's big. I believe sometimes that the markets are manipulated. I wish we could get back to let the farmers do the fair trade where they can make money. Sometimes I see where we need floors on prices. They put ceilings on prices. Looks like to me they could do that also. So I think that we just need to, our nation needs to, because farming is critical to our survival. As we said, #1 in Georgia. And it's wonderful to hear that they are respected, because they are. They do a wonderful job for us, and we appreciate that so much. And I just hope that we can offer a way to show farmers and to get young farmers to stay on the farm. And it all goes back to a lot of things: healthcare, education. It goes back to the internet. All those things are real important. So the state's got to do their part in getting those things set so people can live in rural Georgia and have all the technology wonders that we have.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mathis. Okay, Ms. Whipple-Lue, the next question is for you. A recent survey that came out actually said that farmers were one of the most respected types of professions in the world today. They actually went all the way up. Most people found them as respected and trustworthy, and that's a huge jump. Typically, they're towards the bottom of the list, but right now they're right on the top. And so, since Georgia does have such a large agriculture industry, what issues do you think we need to address to really help promote the industry here in Georgia?
Awesome. That's just awesome. We want to keep that first and foremost, because we know food is a commodity, it's a necessity, and without that, we can't flourish. I'd like to, as I was reminiscing about this, I'd like to say we even need to go back to implement this in our schools, our local schools. Back in the time when I was in high school, we had what we call the Future Farmers of America. And we don't need to just wait and instill this in college, at the university or technical college level. This needs to be taught in the grade schools, where this can flourish in their mindset. And as I was thinking about this, that the issues, there are many tax exempt organizations out there that are available for the Georgia agriculture, such as the GATE, that tax exempt, and it protects the integrity of the conservative use value assessment, and that would jeopardize the program's future to undermine its intent. So what I'd say, we need our farmers. Without them, I can remember, and at the age I am now, my father is at the age of 85. And do you not know he's still gardening? He's still raising a garden. The food that we see growing, he doesn't need it, but he raises it to give to others. And I'm just blessed to have such farmers in my family. And we need this for Georgia. So I commend Georgia for this top awesome job. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Whipple-Lue, for your response. All right, last question, and then we'll go into closing statements. So, Mr. Mathis, what do you see as the key issues or topics facing the General Assembly in this upcoming session? And where would you stand on any of those issues?
Well, Brooke, I did think about several issues. There's so many, but I tried to narrow it down, and I have three, and I'll go very quick with it. Agriculture, again, the most valuable industry in our state right now, and it should be. We must continue to find the ways that our state in the agriculture industry. We got to promote it. We got to help them. As we mentioned, we've had so many down years with the tropical storm, the hurricane, and this pandemic. We have got to stay in line with the farmers and the agriculture business. Not only just, when you think about foresters and the things of that nature, we have got to promote these type of jobs. They're great jobs, and we can do this through the state. Has a lot of influence on the things that go on in our state, and they do a great job. The second thing I want us to focus on is law enforcement, and it's critical to our safety, especially in the atmosphere that we're seeing going across this country. That's why I'm so proud of Georgia and the way we've handled this situation, that we need to make sure that we have the resources available for our law enforcement, and that they're here to protect us. They're here to protect business owners. They're here to protect themselves and their families. And we need to make sure that we show them by making sure that they have the equipment and the funding that they need. The last thing I will say is the state budget's always huge. We have to be very, very good stewards of the state population's money. We need to make sure that we do what's right. And it's a great thing in Georgia that we have a balanced budget. It's mandated by the Constitution that Georgia has a balanced budget. And so far, we've been able to do that. And I want to make sure that we are. And not only do we do that, we have AAA bond ratings, we have rainy day funds, we have good infrastructure, we have people working hard in the state to make sure that we have all these things. But the last thing I want to mention that's going to be very important this next session is redistricting.
Oh, no.
That's what the 2020 census is all about. I went too far.
That's okay. You
Thank
got
you.
that last one in there. The 2020 census is important. Hopefully everybody's done theirs. All right, Ms. Whipple-Lue, the next question is for you. This is the last question, and then we'll go into closing statements. What do you see as the key issue that's facing the Georgia General Assembly in this upcoming session, and where do you stand on any of those issues?
Well, thank you for that very important question. The key issues in Georgia for the 2021 General Assembly, as I see it, and is COVID-19 related, in that whatever the problems are that are long-standing, the COVID-19 problem has to be primary, as you said, in solving Georgia's problems. Number one, the air pollution, water resources and pollution, waste management, biodiversity loss, climate change, educational funding. Our educators, our teachers, they need a pay raise. And healthcare, rural economic development. We need all of this. The infrastructure in our district is overwhelming, and we need this in place. So I'm in favor of solving them all in the way that best benefit the citizens of Georgia, especially those that are in District 144. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Whipple-Lue. All right, Mr. Mathis, the floor goes back to you for your closing statement. Is there anything you want the voters to know about you before you leave tonight after this debate?
Well, thank you. Number one, I want to thank the sponsors and everyone that had this forum tonight. I want to thank Ms. Whipple-Lue for being here tonight, too, by phone. I just want to say that it's a very, very important job. It's so important that this election, nationally and state and local, is so important. It's at the very fiber of what our country is. And I want to be back in the House to help solve some of the problems of this state. I want to make sure that we stay strong on our Constitution, on the United States Constitution. I want to make sure that we are pro-life. I want to make sure that we have moral integrity. I want to make sure that our children live in a community that they're safe. And I want to make sure that I'm there. And as I missed my time, I'm going to finish with this. The redistricting is something that you may take for granted, but it's so important for the simple reason it's going to determine how we're represented for the next 10 years. And we need to make sure in rural Georgia that we have good representation so we can be the thriving communities we want to be. So I thank you. I ask you for your vote. I want to fight for you. That's my purpose. God bless you and thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mathis. All right, Ms. Whipple-Lue, it is your turn, and you get to tell the voters anything about you for them to listen to before you are off the phone tonight. So these are your closing statements.
Yes. I'd like to say, first of all, thank you for the invite to this forum, and I thank all of the people in District 144 who's been receptive, very open, and I'd like to say thanks for candidate Mathis to agree to this forum. But I do want to let the district know that I want to be your voice at the Capitol. I have the experience, the capabilities, the tenacity to stand in spite of all of the diversity and everything that's transpiring. Even with COVID, we're in a pandemic. but there's nothing that the good Lord has given me that we can't handle together. I pray that you all in this district will give me that opportunity to be that positive and productive change for all of us in District 144. God bless you and thank you.
All right, thank you for your participation tonight, Ms. Whipple-Lue. And that concludes our part of the candidate debate for Georgia House District 144. I'd like to thank Ms. Whipple-Lue as well as Mr. Mathis. Thank you so much for your participation tonight.